This is a videotaped deposition of Mitchell Johnson taken on behalf of the plaintiffs in the matter of Mitchell K. Wright et al. Versus Andrew Golden et al. In the Circuit Court of Craighead County, Arkansas. Case number CIV-98-394. This deposition is being held at 280 North College, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Today's date is April 2, 2007. The time is 12:03 p.m. The court reporter's name is Beth Kaltenberger, and the videotape specialist is Steve Grilletta. Present for the plaintiffs is attorney Bobby McDaniel, and Mr. Johnson is here without representation, but has another party here that, if you would please, sir, introduce.
Mrs. Leslie Bouchard, my fiance.
Thank you, sir. Would the court reporter please swear in with us?
Please raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Mitchell Scott Johnson.
And Mr. Johnson, you're here pursuant to a notice and subpoena for a deposition. It's now 12 o'clock. It was scheduled to start at 10:30
Yes, sir.
on today's date. And apparently you had some car trouble or something?
Yes, sir, I did.
And your subpoena was accepted by your attorney so that we did not have to have you personally served. Your attorney is Doug Norwood.
That is correct.
And Mr. Norwood notified you of the subpoena when?
Friday.
Okay. Did he tell you, when did he tell you that it was changed from Jonesboro to here in Washington County?
Friday afternoon, I believe.
Okay. Did you go down to your attorney's office before Friday and have the subpoena served on you by a process server?
No, sir, not that I know of.
Okay. Were you ever in the attorney's office before Friday when a subpoena was given to you, read to you, or informed about a subpoena for a deposition in this case?
No, sir.
Okay. You recognize that you're here today to answer questions in relation to the civil case relating to the Westside shooting incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll get into some more details in a minute, but first, let me have your current street address and mailing address.
I don't have one really in my name. I'm staying with a friend of mine.
Who are you staying with?
Just a friend of mine.
What's his name?
Michael Lindsay.
Lindsay?
Yes, sir.
What is the street address?
1375 North Leverett.
1375 North Leverett here in
Yes, sir.
Fayetteville?
Yes, sir.
Is there a home phone number there?
No, sir.
Do you have a cell phone?
I don't. No.
And is there a cell phone that a message can be left for you?
On my fiance's phone.
All right. What is her name again?
Leslie Bouchard.
And what is her cell phone number?
It's 479-244-5432.
And where does she live?
On Leverett as well.
Does she live with you?
No, sir.
And what is her street address on Leverett?
I don't know her street address.
Okay. Does she live by herself or with parents?
Lives with roommates.
With roommates. Okay. Are your parents both still alive?
As far as I know, yes, sir.
Where is your father now residing?
I don't know. I don't deal with my father. Scott Johnson, I don't deal with him.
When's the last time you had any dealings with him?
May last year. May or June.
What caused the relationship to terminate?
It's just, me and my father's never got along,
Okay.
you know? And I don't, ever since I've been free, I really just haven't contacted him, really.
And what is your age now?
I'm 22, sir.
Okay. And are you now employed?
No, sir.
Where is the last employment that you had?
Walmart?
Here in Fayetteville?
Yes, sir.
And when did you last work at Walmart?
I quit January 1st this year.
And what was your job there?
Photo lab specialist. Or sales associate, photo lab specialist.
And how have you supported yourself financially since you quit at Walmart?
I really haven't. My buddy's been taking care of me.
Who?
My friend Michael Lindsay's been taking care of me, really, or my fiance.
All right. And what about your mother? Where does she live now?
Somewhere in Jonesboro. Or Black Rock. I think Black Rock now.
What is her name now?
Gretchen.
Is it still Gretchen Woodard?
Yes, sir.
Is she still married to the
Yes, sir.
same gentleman? And you have to answer out loud because.
Oh,
of
yes.
court report. Okay. When is your last communication with her?
With my mother,
Yes.
probably a couple days ago, 2 days ago or so.
What is her phone number?
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Is it listed in the book or is it a cell phone?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's a home phone, so it'd probably be listed.
All right, we'll have the court reporter give you one of her business cards, and when you
Okay.
can check the phone number, you can call her, and she can supplement this deposition with that phone number, okay?
Okay.
When did you get out of federal custody,
On my 21st birthday, August 11th, 2005,
and in what state were you being held when you were released?
in Tennessee.
And when you were released on any conditions of any kind?
No, sir.
And I heard, now whether it's true or not, I don't know, that when you were released, you had intentions of going into the ministry. Is that correct?
That is true.
Did you ever go into the ministry?
I have.
And what ministry did you go into?
I was studying to be a preacher
Where?
in Memphis for a while, and then I moved to South Carolina. And I started going to church in South Carolina,
What denomination or affiliation was it?
Seventh-day Adventist.
And have you been a preacher, or are you doing any active religious work at this time?
Not now, no.
Why did you change that determination?
I left South Carolina. I haven't changed. I just haven't found a Seventh-day Adventist church here.
Okay.
So,
And I also heard that after your release, you have expressed to some people that you were substantially remorseful
Yes,
about
sir.
what had happened. Is that correct?
I deal with this every day of my life.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
When we say this event, we're referring to the Westside shooting
I
incident.
understand.
Tell me who you may have talked with about the remorse that you feel from the Westside shooting incident.
Specific people.
Yes.
Natalie Brooks' sister, or stepsister, Brandy Foreman, dated my brother for about 5 months. And I met her in July last year. And at first she didn't want to meet me, obviously, for obvious reasons. And one day she came home with my brother, and I happened to be there and run into her, and we sat down and we talked all night.
What did you tell her? What do you remember telling her?
How regretful I was, how sorry I was that she had to lose her sister, how, I deal with this every day of my life. Every day I wake up, I think, this should have never happened,
Tell me how you deal with it.
Just try and pray. Lord, forgive me. Bless those who are lost. Bless those who remain,
And have you had any contact with Andrew Golden since you were in court in Jonesboro some years ago?
No, sir.
When you were in the Alexander unit together after your court in Jonesboro, did you have any contact with him?
Little. We went to school sometimes together.
And did you and Andrew discuss the event?
No, sir.
Did you ask him anything about it?
We kept to ourselves. We
Kept
didn't
to
talk
yourself.
about business like that.
All right. After you got out of the federal detention, did you seek any therapy or counseling with any organized counselor anywhere?
I've talked to ministers about it. I'm not professional psychologists or psychiatrists. No, I can't afford that.
Just
But-
ministers.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And my family, my loved ones.
And who in your family or loved ones have you talked to about it?
The woman present.
Okay.
My mother, my father, my brother,
And what is your brother's name?
Monty Johnson. Monty Johnson.
I'm a little hard of hearing, so be patient
Yes,
with me.
yes, it's fine.
And where does he live now?
I'm not sure. I think he still is with my mom in
Okay.
Black Rock.
When the shooting took place, there were some men up on a roof who saw you and Andrew Golden. Have you ever talked to either of those men or communicated with them in
No,
any
sir.
way?
I haven't had any contact with anybody involving this case whatsoever.
Okay. When the police detained you, tell me, where were you when they detained you, and what did you have in your possession when they detained you?
I couldn't tell you exactly where we were. We was behind the school.
In the woods?
We was on a street, on a side street.
Okay. And did you have weapons with you?
Yes, sir.
And what weapons did you have with you?
I don't remember. I think we had 5 apiece.
5 apiece?
Yes, sir.
And you were wearing camouflage?
Yes, sir, I was.
And you were wearing camouflage over your other clothes?
Yes, sir.
Where did you get the camouflage?
That was my hunting gear.
That was your hunting gear? Okay. Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
And where did Andrew get his camouflage?
I don't know.
Was he wearing camouflage when you first saw him that morning?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
When the police detained you, one of the weapons you had was a pistol, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you put the pistol to Andrew Golden's head at one time and tell him he had to continue on running with you?
I don't know. I may have. It's been a long time, Bobby. It really has. I don't know. I can't say yes or no.
Okay. When the police detained you, did they take you to the van? Did you
No,
show
sir.
them where the van was?
No, sir, I didn't.
There was a lot of camping gear in the van, correct?
I believe so.
Who loaded the camping gear into the van?
We both did.
And where was the camping gear obtained from?
I don't know. It wasn't mine. Most of it wasn't mine. I had like a sleeping bag in there, maybe.
What?
A sleeping bag, maybe,
Okay.
if that.
And did you help carry the rest of the gear to the van?
No,
Did Andrew carry it all to the van?
I don't know.
Where was the van when the camping gear was loaded into it?
I don't know. Either at his house. I believe it was at his house.
Was it on the same morning of the shooting?
Yes, sir.
And where did he live at that time?
I don't know. I don't know the street address. It was off Dan Avenue and some other street.
Okay. And when you went into his house, did you attempt to break into the gun safe that his parents had and were unsuccessful doing so?
I didn't know.
You did not?
No, sir.
Did Andrew?
I don't know. The guns were already there when I got there
The guns were already where?
at that house,
The guns that were used in the shooting
as far as I know.
were already at the...
The pistols were, yeah.
Mr. Johnson, did you go to Doug Golden's house and go in that house and get some guns?
Andrew did. Yeah, I was with him. I drove him over there.
And you went in as well, did you not?
I believe so.
And you and he both loaded guns out of that house into the van, did you not?
No,
He loaded them all?
no. We never took the guns back to the van.
All right. You took all the guns from the house to the place of the shooting, right?
Right.
You helped gather ammunition at the house, did you not?
Yes, sir.
And how did you know where the ammunition was?
I didn't. Andrew knew where it was. I didn't know.
Did he tell you to go get it?
No, sir.
Well, how did you know where to find it if you
Because he
didn't?
sat it on the table.
It's laying on the table.
He sat it on. He went and retrieved it from somewhere and sat it on the table.
He
I
went-
don't know. I don't know where it was.
He went and retrieved it.
Yes, sir.
Where were you when he went to retrieve the ammunition?
I was downstairs at the back door, making sure no one came that way.
Did you ever go upstairs?
In the kitchen, yes, sir.
And is the kitchen where the gun rack was?
I believe so.
And did you see the gun rack with all the guns on the wall?
Yes, sir.
And did you help take any of the guns out of the gun rack?
No, sir.
You did not.
No, sir. Not that I recall.
And the gun that you used in the shooting was a .30-06 with a telescopic sight, right?
I believe so.
And had you ever shot a telescopic sight before?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think I have, but I've never owned one.
I understand. I'm just asking if you'd ever shot
Right.
a gun with a telescopic sight before that day.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, and whose gun would it have been that you had shot with a telescopic sight before?
I don't know. I've had several friends I went hunting with that had guns.
Okay. And the distance from where you were stationed when the shooting took place, the distance to, say, the nearest victim would have been how far about?
I don't know.
Can you give me an estimate, the length of this room?
Nah, it's farther than that.
Hmm?
It was farther than that.
Farther than that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know about a football field. Was it half a football field, a third of a football field?
I don't know. I said, Bobby, it's been a long time since, this happened. Say 3/4 of a football field, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a football field.
And with the telescopic sight, you were able to clearly see the targets you were shooting, were you not? That's what a telescopic sight does.
Right. Right.
Okay.
But I wasn't intentionally aiming for anybody. But
You were aiming through a telescopic sight,
yes, sir.
right?
I had one on the gun, yes.
And you were looking through it before you pulled the trigger.
Yes, sir.
So you could see who or what you were shooting.
Yes, sir.
Could you see their faces? You could.
If I aimed at them, yes, I could.
Okay. And why did you aim at Miss Wright?
I didn't.
Who did?
I mean, it wasn't intentional that Miss Wright got hit. On my behalf, it was never planned on my behalf to intentionally harm anyone.
Are you telling me that you were shooting a 30-06
Mm-hmm.
that you knew killed animals, and you had gone hunting before, and you knew what a rifle would do
Yes, sir.
to an animal, and certainly you knew what it would do to a person, right?
At the time, I didn't understand the full devastation, but yes, I understand.
Yeah, you'd watch news stories, you'd watch TV, war, and various things. You knew that if somebody was shot with a rifle, it'd kill them, didn't you?
Back then, I didn't understand that, though.
What do you mean you didn't understand it?
Back then, I didn't understand that, I didn't really think all the way through, and I didn't understand that, what I was doing potentially put people in harm, and if they did get killed, they don't come back. I never went to the school that day to kill anyone. If you recall, my 30-06, it hit. Miss Wright got killed very unfortunately, and one or two other people got hit with two bullets. Two of my bullets hit 3 people. The other 3 went in the air, and that's what I meant to do all along. Why the other 2 hit somebody, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And with the 30-06, if you were trying to miss Miss Wright, you could just aim at a wall and miss her, could you not?
More than likely, yeah.
And you didn't do that, did you? You aimed right at her because you hit her.
Not necessarily. I don't remember shooting anybody.
Are you telling us you shot and participated in the killing of 5 people,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't remember ever pulling a trigger on a gun?
I don't remember shooting anybody. No, sir, I don't.
Do you remember pulling the trigger on the gun?
The first shot, yeah.
And where were you aiming when you pulled the trigger the first
roof.
time?
The roof.
The roof.
Mm-hmm.
And why were you aiming at the roof?
Because I wasn't intending to harm anybody.
And why did you change from shooting at the roof to shooting at people?
I don't know.
And Andrew Golden went in to pull the fire alarm at the school, correct?
I don't know. I don't know who pulled the fire alarm.
You knew that was his plan to go in and pull the fire alarm. Y'all had been talking about that for days, had you not?
All right. Whether he
Sir?
physically did it or not, I don't know. I can't recall. I don't know.
You couldn't see him inside the school
Right,
building.
exactly.
But you and he had been talking about this plan for days, had you not? And that he was going to go in and pull the alarm and people would come out? You'd been talking-
Maybe 2 or 3 days
Okay.
before that, yeah. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And it was planned that you and he would be in the bushes with guns and shoot at people when they came out. That was planned, wasn't it?
No, sir.
Well, what was the plan on taking the guns and set up the ambush outside the school, him go in and pull the fire alarm, and you know the door's locked when people go out and you can't get back in. You knew that?
I didn't know that.
Okay. But what was the plan then, if you're going to set up this ambush with stolen guns,
Okay.
and he was going to pull the fire alarm to have everybody run out, and you're set up out there in an ambush? What was the purpose of that?
I was told that he was tired of people messing with him, and he was going to scare people. He's going to prove a point that he's not a pushover, and he asked me to help him to obtain a vehicle to get to and from where he needed to go, and that was supposed to be that on that.
That was supposed to be what?
That was supposed to be my involvement in all of this.
Okay.
Okay. I obtained the vehicle and everything else, and he changed plans. He said, well, you need to come with me, and that's what I done. I was like, okay. He told me solely it was to scare people. He didn't tell me that he went there to kill anybody. He did not, and I specifically told him I have a brother and a sister that went to middle school. They're friends of mine, but I called them my brother and my sister, and I didn't want anyone getting hurt.
Were those the two people that you told not to go to school that day because
Yes,
they
sir,
might
it
get
was.
hurt?
Yes, sir, it was.
And you told them that the day before?
I don't recall. I don't know if it was the day before or Friday or when
Yeah,
it was.
A day or two or three before,
Right.
you told them don't go to school on Tuesday, didn't you?
Right. Yes, sir.
Because you didn't want them to get hurt.
Right. Correct.
So then you knew whatever
I
was
said
going
if something were to happen, I told them this is exactly what I told Jennifer. I said if something were, I said I've heard something bad's supposed to happen in school tomorrow, and I don't want you involved.
And what had you heard bad was going to happen?
Well, I knew Andrew was going to do the shooting.
You knew what?
So I knew Andrew had planned to do the shooting, you know, and I didn't, in case something did go wrong, I didn't want them involved.
Why didn't you go to either the police or the school officials when you heard Andrew Golden was going to bring guns to the area of the school and start shooting? Why didn't you
I
go
don't
to
know.
authorities?
I don't know. One, they already knew. He'd already been suspended once before for that, you know, as far as I recall. Why personally I didn't go, I don't know.
Okay.
It's a good question. I should have.
When the shooting incident took place and you were going to the ambush site, as you were setting up your ambush site, you had your guns and your ammo, right?
Yes, sir.
And you had the 30-06 with the telescopic sight, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
When you were shooting the gun, were you resting it on a tree limb, or were you holding it with your elbow on your knee, or were you laying on the ground? How were you physically holding the gun when you shot it?
I believe on my knees. I believe I was on my knees.
Where you were standing like on your knees, or were you
I was
sitting
crouched.
across-
I was sitting with my legs behind me. I was sitting on my heels is what I was doing.
You were sitting on your heels?
On my heels. On my knees, yeah.
Okay, on your knees and your heels with your butt on your heels?
Yes, sir.
All right. Were you just holding the gun up
Yes,
loose,
sir.
or were you having it against a tree or
I was
a
holding
limb?
it loose.
Okay. And how many years had you been a hunter before then? Had you been hunting for quite a long time before that shooting incident?
Not necessarily quite a long time, maybe a couple years, 2 years, maybe a year or two.
What kind of hunting had you done?
Done deer hunting, dove hunting, squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting.
And you had, and had you ever killed any squirrels or rabbits?
Yes, sir.
Had you ever killed a deer?
No, sir. I haven't.
Had you ever killed a dove?
Yes, sir.
Doves are hard to hit. I've never been dove hunting, but I understand doves are hard to hit. Is that right? They fly
if,
fast.
If you catch them while they're flying, yes, sir. They're fast. I've shot them sitting still.
Okay. You ever caught them flying?
No, sir. I
Okay.
haven't.
And you had a shotgun of your own, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
And who got you that shotgun?
I believe my uncle.
Okay. And you had shot that shotgun numerous times?
Yes, sir, I have.
And you would take aim and target practice with it?
Sometimes.
And sometimes you'd use it for actual hunting,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So you knew how to aim a gun, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you knew how to pull the trigger to hit the object you were aiming at, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. So you knew how to aim with a telescopic sight as well because you'd done it before.
Right?
You put the crosshairs on what you're aiming at, right?
Pretty much, yes, sir. Depending on what kind of scope it is.
And with the scope that was involved in this, it had crosshairs, did it not?
I believe it did, yes.
And you knew that if you put the crosshairs on your target, whether the target is a chair, a wall, or a person, that's where the bullet's going to go, right?
More than likely, unless it's detoured.
Okay. And the bullet is not going to go except where the crosshairs are pointing, right?
More than likely.
Okay. So when the bullets from your gun struck people, it struck people because the crosshairs of that telescopic sight were on those people, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you select which person you put the crosshairs on and which person you didn't put the crosshairs on?
I didn't. Again, I don't remember shooting after the first. I don't remember pulling the trigger after the first shot. I remember Andrew shot twice first. I shot once in the air, and I looked, and I seen Natalie get hit in the head. And I don't remember anything else after that besides Andrew coming back to get me, telling me we're on the run.
And did Andrew shoot Natalie?
Yes, sir, he did. As far as I know.
Was she the first person hit?
I don't know. I just remember seeing her
Where was she hit?
in the head, I believe,
Was she
or the neck.
Okay, was she facing Andrew and you, or was she have her back to you, side to you? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Who else do you remember was shot that day?
That's it. That at that very moment, that's the only person I seen get hit. And after that, I don't remember anything else.
After the first shot was fired, Andrew fired the first shot, correct?
Yes, sir, he did.
Did that first shot hit Natalie?
No, sir.
Do you know who the first shot hit?
It didn't.
It didn't hit anybody?
It went in the air as planned. The first two or three shots went in the air, and my first shot went in the air.
And then when the first was, so you think Natalie was the first person actually struck by a bullet?
I don't know. I mean, he shot several times, so I don't know.
Okay. And he was shooting a carbine?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I'm not sure what he was using,
Semi-automatic rifle?
as far as I know.
And yours was a semi-automatic rifle?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. And what about the teachers or the students or both? Were they screaming and yelling after the first shot was fired?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Did you see them running around? What did you see them doing?
I just remember them lining up, coming outside. And then Andrew got back. He fired the first two shots. I shot once in the air. And I said I wasn't really looking at the people. I was looking up when I was shooting. Of course, I was looking through my scope to shoot. I shot in the air once.
Why did you bring it down instead of shooting in the air? Why did you bring it down?
Well, I didn't bring it down. I looked. I took my gun down. I put it all the way down and looked. And that's when I seen Natalie get hit.
Okay. And then when did you bring your gun back up and aim through the crosshairs at people? When and why did you do that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Can you give us any explanation why a young man, and you were how old at the time?
13.
Why a 13-year-old boy would participate in the slaughter of 5 people and injuring numerous others? What possible reason was there?
Why I participated. Let me see. I don't really know. I mean, I was going through a lot at the time, you know. I'd hit puberty a year before that. A lot of confusion came with that, you know. Been around gang members a lot of my life, you know. I smoked weed back then, sometimes, not all the time. And that was only with Scott. That was with my dad. You know, at the time of the shooting, I remember feeling like I was trapped, like no one understood me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I felt cornered. I felt like I didn't have anywhere to go, nothing to do. I thought my life, you know, was at an end. And when Andrew came to me with it, you know, at first I was like, man, you got to be out your mind. You have to be out of your mind to come to me with some crazy stuff like this. And, you know, I was in the streets a lot.
You were what?
I was in the streets a lot with a lot of my friends, you know, and I seen how they lived life, and I tried copying that, and it just, I don't know, I just felt like I thought my life was pretty much over with, because I had a lot of people who were against me then.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've told me that you have hopes of going into the ministry with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Tell me what you think about the importance of an oath, because you swore an oath to God Almighty today, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it your religious belief that after you die, you'll face a supreme being
Yes, sir.
to answer for what you do and don't do?
Yes, sir. I do believe that.
And do you believe when you swear to God that you're going to be held accountable if you lie about it?
Of course.
Okay.
If you lie, you're sinning. So you're accountable anyway.
And when you swear a lie to God, because when you swore to God to this deposition,
Right.
that carries heavier consequences, doesn't it?
A sin is a sin.
Okay. Now, at the time of this shooting incident, before that, you had self-mutilated yourself a couple of times, had you not? Cut your arm with a knife?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Once.
Once or twice in the same place?
Once.
Okay. And you did that because you didn't like yourself?
No.
Why did you do that?
Gang related.
Gang related. What gang?
Blood. Treetop.
What?
Treetop Pyru.
I can't hear you.
Treetop Pyru. It's a part of the Bloods.
Treetop, and what's the last name?
Pyru.
Spell that.
Piru.
And where is that gang located?
Worldwide.
Was it located in Jonesboro?
No.
And where was it located? Minnesota?
Yeah. Little Rock. They have a branch in Little Rock. They have a branch in a lot of places.
Okay. When's the last contact before the shooting you had physically being present with some gang members?
A day before that,
Where?
in Jonesboro.
Did the gang have a club in Jonesboro or a group in Jonesboro?
Yes, sir.
And
It's a different part. It's not what I was in. It's a different part, but it's the same. You know, it's the same people, just a different part of the people.
All right. I want you to. The shooting happened on a Tuesday.
I don't recall. I don't know what day it was.
Right. The day before the shooting.
Uh-huh.
Tell me what you did the day before the shooting.
Got up, went to school. Didn't say a word to anybody except my sister Jennifer. The last part of school, I stopped and talked to her.
What'd you tell her?
I believe that's when I told her don't come to school. I think. And
Did she ask you why?
yeah.
What'd you tell her?
And I was like, I just heard something bad might happen tomorrow. Don't come to school. She's like, okay, whatever. You know.
But when you took the van, I understood your sister was on the school bus, wasn't she?
No, sir.
She was not?
No, sir. Not that I know of.
Did she skip school?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right. What else did you do the day before the shooting? You said you saw some gang members the day before.
I talked to him over the phone. I didn't see him physically. I stayed at my house.
Who did you talk to?
I don't recall names. Just I haven't had any contact with them since I got locked up. I let all that go.
You know who you talked to?
I don't know names.
You don't know any names?
No.
How'd you call them?
Over the phone. I mean, back then, I said I haven't had contact with these people in a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I don't intend to. That's not
What
the type of life I want to live anymore.
We're talking about back then.
Right? Okay.
What'd you talk to this gang member about?
Small stuff. We never conversed about the shooting. They never knew about it.
Okay.
And they were, they got upset when they found out it was me who done it, because they're supposed to, in their group of rules or whatever, anything I do something like that, they're supposed to know beforehand. And I told them it didn't have anything to do with what they do. I didn't, so there wasn't even supposed to, nobody was supposed to even get hurt that day. So, when I called them, I just talked to them, see what's up, how they're doing, whatever, and told them I might leave town for a while.
Remember now, you're under your oath, and you're
Yes,
telling
sir.
me you can't remember the name of a single one of these gang members.
We didn't really know we weren't on first name basis. We called each other different names.
What'd you call some of them?
Let me see. I mean, there's several people, but Crook, Bloodhound, TJ. There's a bunch of people.
Did they go to Westside?
No, they're all older people. They're out of school. And most of these people are not in Jonesboro. I didn't,
Were they in Minnesota?
some were in Little Rock, some were in Memphis.
So you didn't talk to anybody in Jonesboro?
No.
They were all long-distance calls?
Yes, sir.
Whose phone were you using?
I don't know. I guess my mom's, probably.
What'd your mom say about you making long-distance calls on her phone?
She didn't mind.
She did not mind?
No.
Who paid the bill?
She did. My dad did. My mother doesn't work.
All right. Your dad or your stepdad? Your stepdad?
I call him my dad, but he's my stepfather.
Okay. And your stepdad couldn't have any guns in the house because he'd been convicted of a federal drug crime, correct?
As far as I know, we never really talked about that.
And whose house did you keep your shotgun?
A neighbor's.
What's her name?
I don't know now. I think the Owens family.
Did they live next door to where you lived at the time?
It was a little bit down the road.
And what was your address at the time of the shooting?
I don't know my address. It was on County Road 111,
County Road 111?
I believe, yeah.
Okay. Who else did you tell that something bad could happen?
That was it.
What about Amber?
Amber.
Vanover?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know an Amber. Did you know anybody named Amber? Amber.
Amber. I don't even recall going to school with anybody named Amber.
Okay. When you told your sister something bad might happen or somebody might get hurt, how did you think somebody might get hurt? What event would cause somebody to get hurt? The shooting?
Well, I didn't necessarily say someone was going to get hurt. I just said I heard something bad was supposed to happen. And yes, I was referring to the shooting.
And you were referring to the shooting. You didn't want her to go. Somebody might get hurt.
Could you restate that question?
Yes. You didn't want her to go because you knew there was going to be a shooting and you didn't want to run the risk of her getting hurt. Isn't that true?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So you knew the day before there was going to be a shooting and people could get hurt in that shooting.
It was possible.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't supposed to happen, it was possible.
And you don't know an Amber Vanover, Vannover?
No, sir, I do not.
Did you tell her not to come to school and that you'd loved her and that you'd see her sometime? That's the girl you thought you loved, isn't it?
I don't know Amber Vanover, sir. So obviously I couldn't tell her that if I don't know her.
Who is the girl you thought you loved at that time?
I didn't really love anybody then.
Including yourself?
No, I didn't love myself then.
And have you ever heard of suicide by cop? Do you know what that phrase means?
I think, yes, sir.
That a person puts themselves in a situation so the police have to shoot them.
Right.
Rather than committing suicide themselves, they let the cops kill them.
Right.
Was that part of your plan that day?
No, sir, it was not.
Okay. When who was Jonathan Woodard?
I don't know.
You don't know a Jonathan Woodard?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is.
Okay.
He's no relation of mine,
Okay.
I don't think.
And Mrs. Wright had put you in suspension twice, had she not?
Mrs. Wright?
Yes.
I don't believe so.
Who all the teachers that had put you in suspension?
Put me in suspension.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I was on suspension a couple times, sir. You know, I'm not bragging about that. It's nothing to be.
You were on suspension more than a couple of times, weren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I was.
And Miss Wright had put you on suspension, had she not?
I don't believe she has.
Okay.
I know Coach Shipman has. I think Coach Shipman once. Miss Barnes, maybe.
Well, I've got a report of some discipline incidents,
Okay.
and it's got an incident, a non-diligent effort by Miss Wright. Do you remember that? Excessive
What's that
talking
mean?
after being warned several times not to, returning to the locker during class. Do you remember that? And she placed you on detention on October 15th, 1994. You remember that?
94?
Yeah.
I wasn't even in Arkansas in 94.
Okay. Well, maybe the date's wrong on 94, but she was placed. Did she place you on suspension?
Not that I recall, no, sir. Miss
Okay.
Wright was always good to me.
Or maybe it's 96. I can't read this.
96, possibly.
Yeah. And then another incident date, November 12th, 1996. Disorderly conduct by Miss Wright, in-school suspension again. Was in the hallway in class and hit the cover on the heater hard enough that the cover came off. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I don't think that was Miss Wright who put me in suspension, though.
If it says if the incident report reports it's Miss Wright, you would disagree with that?
I think it was Miss Barnes who put me in suspension.
Look at that report, the top two items.
Okay. That's what it says. Paperwork can be wrong.
Okay. So what you're understanding, Miss Wright did not put you in suspension at any time?
I don't believe she ever has.
Okay.
If she did, then I could be wrong, but I don't recall her putting me in detention or suspending me.
And in the journal page that you wrote, which was January 31st, 1997, you've read that before.
It's been a long time if I have.
Okay. You mention in there that you, after this sucky day is over, I am going home and killing squirrels pretending it is ISS. Do you remember reading that?
That's what it says.
And killing squirrels was kind of a code name for something other than real squirrels, wasn't it?
No, sir. I went hunting after I got home that day.
You did? Did you kill anything?
I don't think I did.
What gun did you use?
My shotgun.
Where did you go hunting?
Behind my house.
Was there woods back there?
Not anymore.
Was there at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to look at what I'm going to show you as what has been marked to another deposition as exhibit numbers, and I'm going to have to come over close to you for you to be able to see them.
All right.
I'll let the videographer come in on. This is Exhibit 3 to another deposition. You see all this equipment laid out beside the van?
Yes, sir, I do.
And did you help load that equipment into the van?
Some of it's mine.
Tell us what part of it's yours.
That Ruffles backpack, that
Just
jacket.
point to them.
This. I believe that's it.
What about the blowtorch and the camouflage bag, whatever that is?
That ain't mine. That's not mine.
All
I don't
right.
believe.
All right, now, turning that exhibit sideways, we see 30-06 rifle with a scope. That's the gun you used that day, is it not?
I believe so.
And then you see a pistol here that you also see down here. Is that the pistol that you carried that day?
That's two different pistols, sir.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I didn't hear the answer.
That's two different pistols.
I understand.
That's two.
Two different pistols.
Yes, sir.
But is one of those the pistol you carried that day, or did you carry both of them that day?
I believe that one is.
Okay. And then you see another pistol down here and another one here. There's at least 3 pistols in these 2 photographs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you have all 3 of those pistols with you when you set up the ambush?
Not on this side, no.
I'm sorry?
Not on this side. These are not my pistols. This is not what I was carrying.
Okay. What all did you have in the way of guns that you were using or controlling that day, whether you actually fired them or not, when you set up in your ambush?
Rephrase the question. I don't understand what you mean.
All right. You said you carried weapons from the house to the place where you set up the ambush, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
What guns, weapons did you carry from the house up to where you set up the ambush?
The 30-06, that pistol you seen. And there was 3 other guns. I don't know. I don't know what
Were
size.
they rifles,
No,
pistols?
sir. They were pistols.
Okay. And you also had ammunition
Yes, sir, I did.
for the pistols and the rifle?
I believe so.
And did you have any extra clips or magazines for the rifle, or was the
No, sir.
ammunition loose?
It was loose.
Okay, you knew how to load the clip because you'd done that at the house, hadn't you?
I didn't load it. Andrew did.
Andrew did. Well, you watched him do it.
You right? I know how to load a clip.
Okay. So you had extra ammo you could have loaded into the clip easily, right?
Yes, sir.
And did you load any extra ammo into the clip?
No. It held 4 rounds.
5?
4.
4.
Held 4 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber.
Okay. And so you had 5 bullets that you fired that day.
That I recall. I think.
Did you reload it at any time?
I don't recall. I didn't at the school. No, sir. I didn't at the school.
Okay. Now, another exhibit is Exhibit 4. See that?
Exhibit 4?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
it's a picture of some of the material that was outside the van we looked up earlier.
Right.
And you see in the top right photograph a machete and some large knives. You see those?
Yes, sir, I do.
Whose blades were those?
They're not mine.
Where did they come from?
I don't know.
Did you help load them?
No, sir, I didn't.
How many? Where was the van when the equipment we see here in Exhibit 4? Where was the van parked when all that was loaded onto it?
I don't recall if it was, I believe at Andrew's house. I think.
Did Andrew go in and make trip after trip carrying this stuff out, and you just sit there and watch him, or did you help him load it?
All my stuff that you see that is mine, I loaded that. I didn't load anything else that I recall.
On this photograph in the upper right-hand corner of Exhibit 4, point to what was yours.
And Exhibit 4,
Yeah, right up in this right-hand corner. Show me what was yours.
this bag.
What is that bag? What do you call it? Is there a certain?
It's a backpack.
Okay.
You know,
All right. What else?
like a gym bag.
All right. What else?
And my jacket.
Okay. What about the camouflage? Was that yours?
No, sir. That's not. What I had on was the only camouflage I owned.
Okay. What about the boots? That you can see in the lower photograph as well.
No, those aren't mine.
What about the ropes with the duct tape around them?
No, sir.
What about the pistol with the speed, or the speed load for
No,
pistols?
sir. I didn't own a pistol.
Okay. And back here, we'll turn it sideways, and you see a hunting arrows and a bow.
Yes, sir.
Whose was that?
It's not mine,
Did Mr. Golden produce that?
more than likely.
What about, what's that? Is that a bedroll?
I don't know.
Okay.
Some kind of camouflage.
What was the blowtorch for?
I don't know. It's not mine.
Did you and he have a plan for what you were going to do after the shooting took place?
Run away, pretty
Run-
much.
Huh?
Run away.
Run away. Run away where?
We didn't get that far ahead, really.
Well, when you were talking about this incident, you were planning it and discussed it at least several times, 2 or 3 days before the shooting, did you not?
We didn't go in full detail. He asked me to help him. I did that. I didn't go in. We didn't sit down and map it out. This is A, B, C, D. This is going to happen, then this, then this, then this. He told me, he's like, first he told me he wanted me to help him, just provide a vehicle for him, get him to and from where he needed to go, and that was that on that. The plan changed when I got there that day.
And when you loaded your stuff, if you were just going to drive him someplace, why did you need to load up gear into the van yourself before you went to go get him?
Just because, I mean, he told me that morning, I called him, I said, are you leaving? You know, are you doing this? He's like, yeah. I said, well, I'm leaving the house.
Well,
And then that's when I loaded my stuff.
all right.
I went back in, packed my stuff, and loaded it.
So you packed your stuff and loaded it, knowing that after the shooting was over with, y'all were going to make a run for it, right?
Pretty much.
And did you know where you were going to go? Did you have any plan?
Not really, no.
Did you have any money?
Little.
How much did you have?
I don't know.
How were you going to buy gas? Because you tried to stop 2 or 3 times to buy gas, didn't you?
Yeah, Andrew had money.
Andrew had money. Do you know how much money Andrew had?
I don't know.
Okay. This next photograph, which is Exhibit 5, you'll see a lot of ammunition. Do you see that beside your gym bag?
Yes, sir.
Was that ammunition that you helped take from the house?
As far as I know.
Okay. Do you know which is the ammunition for the 30-06?
Not offhand, no.
You can't tell from that picture?
Mm-mm.
And again, these other knives, what do you know about those other knives?
They're not mine.
Well, did you help load them or have anything to do with them?
No, sir.
When you
I
were-
didn't carry any of them.
When you were arrested, did you have any knives?
Yeah. Yes, sir, I did.
How many knives did you have on you when you were arrested?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
What were you going to do with the knives? Why'd you have the knives with you?
I carried a knife with me all the time. You know,
What kind
just
of knife did you carry all the time?
normally a pocket knife.
All right, but that's not the knives you had on you when you were arrested. You had some of these hunting knives.
They
didn't
were
you?
given to me, yes.
Okay, and you had it strapped on
I believe they're in my pockets.
in your pockets.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
What were you going to do with them?
I don't know. You can do several things with knives, you know.
Well, what was your
You-
plan that day to use the knives for?
I don't know. I didn't really have one. Just, you know, stuff comes up, you need to cut rope, you use a knife. You need to cut limbs, you use a knife, you know.
Or you can hurt people with a knife.
You could, it's possible.
And Exhibit 7, is that a photograph of you made about the time of this shooting incident?
Yeah.
And the bottom picture, is that a picture of Andrew at the time he was apprehended?
I'm guessing so, yes. Looks like him.
And that's the way he was dressed after the camouflage was taken off, wasn't it?
I didn't see him after the camouflage was off. I was already in the police car.
When you were sitting there in the ambush site, before the shooting actually started, tell me everything you can remember, because at that time you were fully at yourself, weren't you, before the shooting started?
What does that mean?
Well, you were fully conscious and aware of what was going on before the shooting started. I mean, you knew you weren't upset or anything else. You knew what was going on at that time, right?
For the most part, yes, sir.
Tell me what you said to Andrew and what Andrew said to you before the shooting started.
We really didn't talk much. I do remember telling him that, again, I reminded him, you told me, no one's supposed to get hurt. Just remember that. And, he didn't really say anything. We didn't really talk. There wasn't really much to talk about. I was following where he was. I was following his lead, where he went.
Who determined the ambush site location?
He did.
Did you ask him, why are we setting up this ambush site?
No.
Did you ask him why this place instead of some other place?
No, sir.
Did you know what school buildings you were close to?
Yes, sir.
What school buildings were you close to?
The middle school.
And was there a gymnasium also close?
I believe so.
And the middle school that you were close to, was that the school you were attending at the time?
Yes, sir, it was.
Was that the school Andrew was attending at the time?
Yes, sir.
Which teachers was Andrew mad at?
I don't know.
Had he ever discussed with you any teachers he had problems with?
No, sir.
Had he ever discussed with you any students he had problems with?
Not really.
Well, that's like being maybe. Did he kind of discuss it with you?
I don't remember specific names if he did.
And Andrew often walked around carrying a hunting knife with him, didn't he, before this incident took place?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I mean, I never checked his pockets. I don't,
No, I'm talking about on the scabbard on his belt. Big hunting knife. Did you ever see him doing that?
No. Knives weren't allowed at school.
No. I'm talking about after school.
I
or
didn't
on
associate
weekends.
with him really after school.
The only time you associated with him was at school?
Pretty much.
How'd you and Andrew become friends?
On the bus. We rode the same bus together.
And he was how much younger than you?
He is a year younger than me.
When did you all ever go places together, do things together other than at school?
No, sir.
What made Andrew think he could approach you about participating in a shooting at a school and you not snitch him off?
I don't know.
Well, you had bragged to a lot of people that you were a gang member, had you not?
People knew that I was involved. I mean, it's not really hard to tell,
Well, you bragged that you were, didn't you?
I sported my colors.
And what were your colors?
Red and green, black.
And did you try to flash gang signs?
I have in the past, yes.
Show me some of the gang signs you flashed and what they mean.
I don't participate in that anymore.
I understand, but show me what you did. I'm trying to find out what you did back then. What the gang signs you flashed and what they meant.
I'm not going to do that. I said I don't participate in that anymore, and that's not something I do.
Sir, you don't have a right to refuse to ask reasonable questions, and that's a reasonable question, and that's something we might have to let the judge take up. And I don't think you want to incur the wrath of the judge, but if you do, that's your choice.
I mean,
that's your choice.
There's one symbol that, symbol that everybody's seen me throw up, which is universal, and that's the sign of a B.
That's what?
That's the sign of a B.
A sign of a beat?
Of a B. The letter B.
Oh, the letter B. And what does that mean?
Blood.
Okay. And you had smoked marijuana on occasions before this shooting incident took place, right?
Yes, sir, I had.
And you'd smoked it with your dad?
At Scott's house, not physically with my dad.
Okay.
He didn't know that I'd found it.
But it was his marijuana?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're at the end of our tape, so let's go off record.
The time is, 1 p.m. and we are off the record. If we want to stretch, we're still attached.
I'm fine. I'm okay.
The time is 1:08 p.m. We are back on the record.
Mr. Johnson, before we broke, you asked me how much longer this deposition was going to go because you had to go to work. You remember telling me that?
Yes, sir.
But you'd earlier told me you didn't work.
I don't work. I meant to say I inquire about work. I had an interview, today.
Where?
In Bentonville.
With whom?
Lawn care service.
Okay. And Throughout the course of this deposition, as I recall, I've referred to you as Mr. Johnson, have I not?
That is correct, sir.
Various times in the deposition, you've referred to me as Bobby, right?
I believe so.
And why would that, if I would call you Mr. Johnson, why would you call me first name? Just out of curiosity?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have a problem with respect for people in certain positions or authority?
No,
or anything?
sir.
No disrespect intended?
No, none intended, sir. I apologize.
No, I'm not asking for that. I was just
Okay.
asking what makes you tick.
Oh, that's fine. No, sir.
We have, that I'm going to mark as Exhibit A to this deposition, a photograph of the gun rack in Doug Golden's home. You remember this gun rack, do you not?
Yes, sir.
And in this gun rack, do you remember whether the guns were secured in any fashion or not?
I believe they were.
And how were they secured?
I'm not sure. I think with the lock.
Was there a cable running through the trigger guards, and then there was a padlock at the end? Is that your recollection?
I believe so. I think so. I'm not sure.
The key was either right in or on the trigger guard. I mean, right by the lock, wasn't it? Hanging on the nail, wasn't it?
I don't know. I didn't unlock it.
That's Exhibit 1 to an earlier deposition. Well, did you see the keys hanging on the nail?
No, sir.
Did you see Andrew get the key?
No, sir, I didn't.
The gun rack is about 12 feet long, wasn't it?
Approximately, I don't really recall.
Okay. And you and Andrew broke into the basement with a crowbar?
Yes, sir, we broke in. I don't know exactly with what. I can't remember.
And in that, did you break in the basement or was it the first floor level?
It was the basement.
And when you broke in the basement, did you stay in the basement or did you go upstairs?
For a while, I stayed in the basement, watching the back door.
And Exhibit B is a photograph of the basement and the back door, correct?
I believe that looks like it.
All right. Were any guns taken off these racks?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Then Exhibit C is a group of photographs taken apparently inside your van. See that? Those are photographs inside the van, correct?
As far as I can tell.
Whose camouflage equipment is that in the back seat of the van in the top left photo?
It's not mine.
Okay.
So.
And this plastic case, is that where bullets were taken out of a shell casing or a casing to load the guns?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It might be.
What are these boxes of things and Rolodex or whatever it is? Do you know what that information is?
No, sir, I don't.
Was your mother employed at the time?
My mother? No.
Was your stepfather employed?
Yes, sir.
What was his job?
He's a construction worker, or he was, still is.
Okay. When Andrew brought all this equipment out to the truck, the machetes, the hunting bows and arrows, the rope with the duct tape, canteens, and various things shown in these pictures, what'd you say to him or ask him about what all that stuff was for?
Didn't really talk much, you know. He just said he's putting the stuff in the van. I told him go ahead.
Did you ask him what it was for?
No, not really. Like I said, we didn't really talk then a lot.
you really knew what it was for, didn't you?
I didn't really pay attention. And I stayed in his living room,
You stayed in the living room
pretty much.
while he loaded the van?
Yes, sir.
And that's the living room of whose house? His?
His.
Had you ever told anybody before this incident that there was going to actually be a shooting?
Not actually a shooting, No, I haven't.
Who else besides your sister did you tell that there was going to be some trouble?
Nobody that I know of.
Did you have a girlfriend then?
At that very moment, no. I don't believe so.
Had you ever had sexual relations with a girl as the time of this shooting?
No, sir.
You had been the victim of sexual abuse yourself at that time, had you not?
True.
And that was by a male?
Yes, sir.
Was that a family member?
No, sir.
Was that person ever arrested?
No, sir.
Did you turn them into the police?
After the shooting?
Was anything ever done to them?
No, sir.
Why didn't you turn them in sooner?
I pretty much put it at the back of my mind. I blocked it out.
Was this person a family member?
No, sir, it was not.
Did you ever sexually abuse anyone?
No, sir.
Did you and Andrew Golden have any sexual relations of any kind?
No, sir.
Now, do you remember Attorney Randall Miller?
Yes, sir, I do.
Randall Miller had conferred with you, had he not, on several occasions?
No, sir, he was my mother's attorney.
Okay, he was also representing you, though, wasn't he, because of your mother?
No, sir. I had a court-appointed attorney, and Mike Roberts was stepping in.
Well, he was on court appointed for the, he was working with you on the criminal matters, wasn't he, for the federal matter?
And my civil case, both, I believe.
And why did Mr. Roberts stop representing you?
Really didn't. I mean, I got found guilty. Nothing else. Y'all got a settlement. And, I don't need an attorney after that.
Well, have you ever made a settlement?
Have I?
Uh-huh.
No, they said y'all have already got a judgment on me, and,
Well, you understood there was going to be an agreed judgment entered against you, didn't you?
I don't, I haven't talked to anybody about this.
Okay.
As far as I knew, y'all have reached a settlement that, if my understanding was, as long as I don't go out profit from this, interviews, movies, books, or any, et cetera, that was the agreement.
And are you in agreement to a judgment being entered against you that any proceeds from any sales of any magazines, TVs, books, interviews, or contact of any kind to where you would attempt to profit from this shooting, that you would not be allowed to profit from it?
Yes, sir, I understand that.
And you have no problem with that, do you?
No, sir, I do not.
And you know it'd be wrong for you to attempt to profit from this, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Be bad, dirty money, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. That and it would hurt the victims. That's why I don't talk to the media. That's why I don't have any dealings with, that's not my place to open wounds.
Okay.
I don't deal with the media. I don't like the media. I never plan to do anything like that.
All right. And do you appreciate the value of life?
Now I do.
And do you think that these parents of these children would value their child's life very highly?
Yes, sir.
And you think Mitchell Wright would value his wife's life very highly?
I don't know, honestly. From what I've heard, I don't know.
Well, from what you've heard, you think her son would have valued his mama's life?
I believe her son would, yes.
Okay. What is it you've heard that Mr. Wright would not have valued his wife's life? And who'd you hear it from?
I've heard several instances he was cheating on his wife, even the day of the shooting. And I've heard that he married Diana Ross right after this happened. And my question is, you know, for his son's sake, I understand that why he'd be upset. But if he didn't love his wife and he was cheating on his wife, why would he want me dead? Yes, it was wrong for me to harm Miss Wright. Yes, I am sorry for that. But at the same time, how are you wanting to kill me, make terroristic threats against me, and, you know, yes, your wife died. Yes, sir. But you were cheating on her. Does that make that right? No, sir, it doesn't. Okay? And I agree with that. It's not right by any means. You know, but how are you going to get mad at me if you were cheating on your wife? Then how do you say I deserve to die?
And can you tell me what evidence you have he was cheating on his wife?
I don't know. I know he married Diana, you know, whatever her last name is, right after this happened. And, you know, and what's that say? You know, in my opinion.
Do you know how much time passed from the time that Miss Wright died before Mitchell Wright and Diana Davis got married?
It's really not my business. I don't know.
Do you know if they even knew each other before the shooting incident took place?
From what I've heard, yes, they knew each other quite well.
What did you hear it and from whom?
Several people. I don't know names. Just a lot of people in Jonesboro say that.
Give me a name.
I don't know names.
Your mother?
No. Probably not my mom. My mom's heard that, I'm sure.
Who told you is what I'm asking?
A lot of people. I mean, people from Jonesboro. I don't know, you know, who who, I don't know.
When would they have told you that? You were in jail from the day of the shooting until you turned 21, were you not?
Yes, sir, I was, every single day.
And did you have contact with people in Jonesboro when you were in jail?
Yes.
And how would you contact them?
Mail, phone, either or.
And did you write letters to anyone and people write letters to you?
Yes, sir, several times.
And did you write letters to anyone expressing remorse or sorrow for what had happened?
Yes, sir, I have.
Who are some of the people you wrote letters to expressing remorse?
Colby Brooks, Josh Brand.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Colby Brooks, Josh Brand, Monty, my brother, my mother, several people.
Did you ever write one to Mr. Wright?
I was informed not to contact him, that I wasn't allowed to.
Okay. Did you ask your mother to contact any of the victims or their families?
Not that I recall.
You do
You know,
not portray yourself as a victim here, do you?
As far as,
Well, you don't portray yourself as an innocent victim in this shooting incident, do you?
no, sir. Not necessarily, no.
Or do you somewhat portray yourself out to be an innocent victim?
I don't look at myself as a victim. I look at myself as, you know, having done a crime, I paid the price. At that price, I've lost my childhood. At that price, I'm now struggling every single day to support myself because I can't find a job. No one will hire me. You know, I struggle every day that I get people stare me in the face, call me a murderer to my face. And, you know, I struggle with the fact that, you know, like you said, my deity, my God, you know, yeah, he has a problem with that. You know, murder is a sin. You know, and yes, it says Christ will forgive you. And I believe that. You know, but at the same time, I did lose my childhood. It was a choice I made. Okay, and I'm not saying I'm a victim, but I did lose my childhood, and I've lost a lot of valuable time. And as far as getting back on my feet, I'm still not on my feet. I don't have a job. You know, I worked at Walmart for a couple months. They found out who I was, fired on the spot. Worked at Glad for 1 day.
You work what?
I worked at Glad, the Glad plant in Rogers, for 1 day. A guy in Jonesboro run into me. Found out who I was, went and told them who I was, fired on the spot. Come to me, you're done. And I asked him, what did I do? Who you are? Well, who am I? Well, you're a murderer. You're gone. Yes, okay. I appreciate your time, thank you. And I left. You know? So this follows me every day. Am I a victim? No. I made a mistake. I chose to do wrong, and now it follows me.
Now, when you got out of federal custody, where's the first place you moved to live?
I was in Memphis for a while, and then I moved to South Carolina.
Who were you living with in Memphis?
Myself. Me and my mom stayed together for a couple days. It was only a couple days, like a day and a half, 2 days maybe. And some friends of mine from South Carolina come and got me.
Who was that?
It's friends of mine I met while I was in jail.
Who is that?
Carlos Suarez is his name. Carlos Suarez is his name.
And where in South Carolina?
Columbia. Or Lexington officially, but it's Columbia District.
And where did you work when you were in South Carolina?
I didn't.
Who supported you?
Carlos and his wife.
And how long did you stay there?
About 8 months. From August until when did I leave? March. Around March.
Your birthday is when now?
August 11th.
And so you turned 21 August 11th of what year?
2005.
And you went originally to Memphis, and then after a few days went to South Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excuse me.
Stayed there about 8 months.
Yes, sir.
Never found a job?
I worked part-time under the table for a
Good.
lawn care service.
All right. And then you left South Carolina and went where?
I stayed and I went to see Scott, actually.
Your natural father, Scott?
Yeah.
Was he in Minnesota?
Nope.
Where was
he? Was in Wisconsin at the
Wisconsin.
time. Yes, sir.
How long did you stay with him there?
Let me see. 2 months, 3 months maybe. March to June.
Of 2006?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And did you work while you were there?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where did you work?
McKay Nursery. McKay Nursery.
In what city and state?
Waterloo, Wisconsin.
Okay. Why did you leave that job?
I came home to see my mom.
And was your mom living in Jonesboro at the time?
Yes, sir.
And when you came to Jonesboro, did you stay with your mother?
For a while.
How long did you stay with her?
A couple weeks.
And did you get a job?
No, sir. I didn't leave the house for natural reasons.
Okay. And when you left your mom, where did you go next?
Here, Fayetteville.
And why Fayetteville?
My buddy lives up here,
Who is your buddy?
Justin Trammell.
And that's the fellow that you got arrested with a month or two ago?
I got arrested. He didn't.
He did not?
Yes, sir, he did not.
And he was the fellow that was in Alexander for the crossbow, killing somebody with a crossbow?
That's what they blamed me for, yes, sir.
Okay, well, he admitted to it, didn't he?
I don't know. That's not my business.
Okay. How is it you two became friends?
In Alexander?
Okay. And he obviously got out before you did
Yes, sir.
and came to the Fayetteville area. Is this where he's from originally?
He's from Bentonville originally. So, yes, he's familiar with this area.
Where does he work, do you know?
I don't know.
Do you know where he lives?
No, sir.
You still in contact with him?
After I got arrested, no.
What's his phone number, do you know?
I don't have a phone. I don't think he has one either.
Okay. And I'm not going to get into the details of your crime. I'm only asking you what you're charged with. What are you charged with?
Possession of a concealed weapon and possession of a controlled substance.
And when are you scheduled to go to court?
I don't know.
And Doug Norwood's your attorney?
Yes, sir, he is.
Is he public defender?
No, sir.
Who's paying him?
I did. I'm paid him.
Where'd you get the money to pay him?
When I worked at Walmart.
Okay. Now, do you still owe him some money, or are you paid in full?
I owe him about $200, I think.
Okay. And you don't know when your court date is?
No, sir. I haven't talked to him about it. It got continued as far as I know.
Okay. And the other fellow, Justin's that his name?
Yes, sir.
Was not charged with any crime?
No, sir.
Who was driving the vehicle, you or him?
He was.
As I recall, you had seen and knew what trigger locks were before this shooting incident took place, correct?
Then?
Yes.
I don't know if I did or not. I've never used one.
I understand, but you had seen them before. I think you told me earlier you'd seen them before, hadn't you?
I don't know.
In-
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, if these guns had been secured with a trigger lock so that you couldn't pull the trigger
Hmm.
without a key or a combination or some way to get into it, you wouldn't have been able to use these guns for anything but a billy club, right?
Not necessarily.
As a 13-year-old kid, you would not have known how to disarm a trigger lock, would you?
Probably not, no.
And you tried to get in, or you and/or Andrew tried to get into the gun safe at his parents' house, right?
I didn't.
I said, and/or Andrew tried to get into the gun safe at his
I
parents'
don't
house.
know.
You don't know?
No. If he did, and he did, I wasn't there. I mean, I was in the living room.
You
So-
didn't try to pick the lock yourself? Think about it.
Picked the lock myself.
You tried
I
to
don't-
pick the lock, didn't you?
I don't know. I don't think I did. I mean, you see. I don't know. I can't say yes or no, really.
But at any rate, you all, between the two of you, were not successful getting guns out of the locked gun cabinet, correct?
As far as I know.
So when you left Golden's parents' house, you left there with no guns, right?
No, sir.
Is that not right?
That's not true.
What guns did you take from Golden's parents' house?
I don't know.
Did you take any guns from Golden's parents' house?
I didn't.
Did he? Did Andrew?
I believe he did.
What did he take?
I don't know. I'm not sure which ones he had.
Rifle,
It wasn't
pistol?
the rifle.
It was pistol?
I think so.
Did you see it?
I don't know. I don't think I seen it. I think it was in a bag if it was. And I could be wrong. I don't know.
Did he tell you he had a pistol?
No.
What made you think he had one?
Just, I know he had 10 from altogether. There was 10 guns. And he might have got them from his grandfather.
Do you know one way or another?
I'm not sure, no. So I can't say positively that it was at he got them from his parents' house or from his grandfather's house.
You told me when this shooting happened that you were going through a lot of hard times and frankly didn't like yourself and didn't see life really worth living, right?
Pretty much.
What all were the things going on with you then that made life such a desolate scenario?
After I hit puberty, I recalled being molested. That had a lot to do with my anger. It had a lot to do with why I was so mad all the time. My gang life, I got tired of it. And there's pretty much, I just got tired of the gang life. I got tired of having to watch my back. I got tired of getting jumped on. I got tired of having to jump people. I got tired of all that. And I knew the only way to get away from that was to leave. My parents were divorced. Me and my dad never got along. My real dad, Scott. I'd go up there and I hated it. I wanted to stay home with my mom. It was a lot of stuff.
What else was going on negative for you?
I did well in school grade-wise, just my behavior. I had to fight a lot in school, Had a lot of people didn't like me. They wanted to be gang members themselves and all this stuff. And, just there's a lot of drama at school.
Were you a gang member?
Yes, I was.
How did you get initiated?
I got jumped in.
And by getting jumped in, what happened?
I had to fight for 3 minutes and 11 seconds with 5 other people.
Why 3 minutes and 11 seconds?
It's just how long it was.
Okay. And when did that happen and where?
Minnesota,
How old were you?
9.
Had you been rejected by any girls that you had approached at Westside?
Several times, probably.
Did that make you angry too?
It make me angry. I thought they were stuck up, Made me angry. I'd laugh, I'd laugh at them. I didn't really care, They didn't want to talk to me. That's their loss, not mine, really. That's how I looked at it then.
How do you look at it now?
I have a fiance. And
Well, I'm talking about looking back on the situation at Westside is what I'm asking about. Looking back now, how do you perceive it?
oh well, they rejected me. I've got my fiance now. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm glad it wasn't nothing serious because I wouldn't have her now.
Were there ever any written plans, maps, or notes made?
No, sir. Not that I know of.
Did Andrew ever tell you he'd made a list?
No, sir.
Did he ever discuss with you he had some certain people he was going to get?
No, sir.
In your earlier deposition, when I asked you about Amber Vanover, I want you to tell me if you remember this and see if it refreshes your recollection.
Okay.
To set the record straight, I had told her not to come to school because I thought something bad might happen, and then after that I told her that I loved her and I would see her, and that was all that was said. I loved her and I would see her sometime. Does that refresh your recollection?
I told that to Jennifer. I don't know an Amber Vanover.
You told that to Jennifer, meaning your sister?
Yep.
Where does your sister live now?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her since her mother got killed.
And what's her mother's name?
Stacy.
And how old is Jennifer?
I'm 22. I believe she'll be 22 in November, I think.
Who is her dad?
I'm thinking. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I'm not sure. I don't know. I forgot his name.
Who is her mother?
Stacy Nightingale.
Why do you call her your sister?
She's close to me like my sister.
She's not really your sister?
My blood related sister? No, she's not.
All right. Do you know if she lives in Jonesboro?
Said I haven't talked to her since 2005
Where was she living in 2005?
in Jonesboro.
What name was she going by?
Jennifer
Jennifer what?
Nightingale.
Okay. You know if she's ever been married?
I don't know. She was talking about it, but I don't know her. I didn't know her fiance's name or anything like that.
You had problems with the teacher that took your Nike hat from you. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And Miss Fuller was one of the people involved in that, or was she?
Yes, sir.
You were angry at her?
Yeah, I didn't appreciate that.
And you hated in-school suspension, did you not?
Yeah, it wasn't a fun time.
And that was part of what your anger was that motivated you for the shooting, wasn't it?
No, not necessarily.
It was part of it, wasn't it?
I didn't really take that into consideration. I was more on the lines of my gang life and how much, I hated myself. And just, I didn't, school was school to me. I went there, learned, and I came home, did what I.
But you were in school suspension. That really angered you, didn't you? Didn't it? You hated in-school suspension, as you said in your journal.
I guess so. I didn't like in-school suspension.
And you really disliked the teachers that put you in there because you didn't think you deserved
I
to be
disliked
in.
Miss Fuller because she was the in-school suspension teacher. She was the one who took my hat. She was the one, she messed with me all the time.
And you didn't think you needed to be in school suspension, did you?
No, I didn't.
And so part of the anger that brought about this shooting incident was your anger at the school and in-school suspension, true?
No,
Not true?
No.
Didn't have anything to do with it?
not really, no.
Well, when you say not really, did it partly?
Maybe partly, but that wasn't the first thing on my mind. I didn't go there saying, okay, these people put me in suspension, I'm going to shoot these people. That was not going through my head, no.
What was going through your head?
Just getting away.
Before
Leaving.
the shooting took place, what were you thinking? What were you thinking right before the shooting started?
Right before the shooting started. How I didn't want anybody to get hurt, really. That I just wanted to get away from the gang members. I wanted to get away from my life. Just get away. That's all I kept saying.
And after the shooting stopped, what caused the shooting to stop? Why did you all quit shooting? You had more ammo, right?
Yeah.
Why did you stop shooting?
I don't know.
Was it because the men up on the roof spotted you and yelled?
I don't know. I don't recall. I said I pulled the trigger that one time. I remember seeing Natalie getting hit, and I don't remember anything after that until Andrew came back and grabbed me and told me, let's go.
Or you remember shooting at the man on the roof twice with a pistol, don't you?
I believe so. Yeah.
Why were you shooting at him? Because he spotted you?
I don't know, really. Just, yeah. I guess because he spotted me.
And you were trying to hit him when you were shooting at him with a pistol, weren't you?
I shot in his direction. I didn't aim for him, really.
Well, you were
know.
shooting at him, weren't you?
I shot towards him, yes.
And you were trying to hit him, weren't you?
Not necessarily, no.
Of course, as far away as you were with a pistol, it was pretty unlikely, wasn't it?
I knew I wasn't going to hit him. You know, I knew that much. If I wanted to hit him, I'd have used the rifle, probably. So,
Like you did on the others?
no.
You
If
did?
I intentionally wanted to hit that man, I would have used the rifle. I knew the pistol wasn't going to reach.
And you did use the rifle in the shooting, and you did shoot several people, right?
According to
You've seen the ballistics reports,
Yes, sir, I have.
and you know the ballistics reports show your gun was involved in at least 3 of the shootings, wasn't it?
It was only 3, as far as I know.
Okay? And you know that those rifle fragments from your gun came about because you were shooting at those people, right?
Okay,
Right?
right.
And you can't give me any reason why you shot at one person instead of another. I mean, was there any selection process as to aiming at one person versus aiming at another?
No, sir. There wasn't.
Did Andrew
Not
ever,
on my behalf.
Did Andrew ever tell you, either while you were in jail or before or anything else, how he decided who he was going to shoot?
No, sir.
And you know that he shot Natalie in the head, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you ask him, why'd you shoot Natalie in the head?
No.
How close to him were you when you fired your shots and when he was firing his shots? How far apart were you?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, if you were you close enough to touch him when he shot?
No.
Were you as far away as you and I are now?
Probably.
Were you further? Or
Maybe.
about this distance?
Maybe further.
Were you as close as the cameraman is to you?
I don't know. Somewhere around this range. I wasn't close enough to touch him.
Okay. Within a few feet of him, would that be fair?
We can say that.
And you wouldn't have to have yelled to have talked to him. You could have talked to him like we're talking now, and he would have heard you, right?
It had been pretty loud.
Okay. At what point did Andrew come to get you to say we're leaving or we're going?
I mean, the shooting had already stopped, as far as I know.
And that's after you had run out of ammo in your rifle and you'd fired 2 shots at the man on the roof.
Right.
And Andrew had shot how many times, do you know?
I don't know.
How many do you think he shot?
I don't know.
Can you give me an estimate?
No, sir, I can't.
How many do you remember that he shot?
3.
You remember?
I remember 3 rounds.
Okay. And after the shooting stopped, who's the first person that said something? You say something to Andrew or him say something to you?
He told me, let's go. I was sitting there just staring.
And what did you say or do?
I just grabbed my guns that was on the ground and left,
And where did you all go?
heading towards the van.
And where was the van parked?
Exactly, I don't remember. Maybe 2 streets from Doug Golden's house.
Okay. And what happened while you were leaving the ambush area headed toward the van?
We were detained.
Huh?
We were detained.
Well, before you were detained, did anything happen? You say anything to Andrew? Him say anything to you?
I don't know. I don't recall really.
You don't recall putting a gun to his head? He was wanting to stop and you put him a gun to his head saying that you got me into this and we're getting out? You remember that, don't you?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
And the gun you put to his head, was that the same pistol you'd fired twice at the man on the roof?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Were you intending to shoot him?
No.
Why'd you have the gun at his head?
To intimidate him.
Had you intimidated Andrew on other occasions?
No.
Well, you and he actually started talking about this shooting back as early as Christmas time in the prior year, hadn't you?
He came to me about it sometime around then.
You know what? Go ahead.
And I told him, that's when I first told him, you have to be out your mind to come to me with some stuff like this.
And when did the shooting actually take place?
In March
March what?
24th, I believe,
What year?
of 1998.
And so in Christmas of 97, tell me what you told him and what he told you.
Again, I guess he came to me about it, and he was like, hey, what did he say? He just come to me, he was like, you know, I've been thinking about doing some scaring of some people. So I'm really tired of them playing with me. And he wanted to prove a point.
And he asked you to help, and you told him he would, and you knew something bad was going to happen, even as far back as Christmas, didn't you?
No, that's when, again, when he first come to me about it, I told him, no, you have to be out of your mind to come to me about some stuff like this.
And you continued talking about it for a while until you finally decided you'd help him do the crimes. Isn't that true?
We talked over spring break. It was the next time we talked about it. And that was that was like a week before the shooting actually happened.
And you discussed with him where you'd get the guns, how you'd get them, and how you'd provide the transportation.
I told him I'd provide transportation for him. That's what he asked me to do for him.
And he told you where and how you'd get the guns, didn't he?
No, he didn't. I didn't care. I didn't plan on using the guns.
Did you not tell me in your earlier deposition? I'm going to read it to you
Okay.
because you're still under that oath.
Okay.
Quote, and then we had continued talking. This is after the Christmas time. Then we continued talking about it for a while, and it went on like that until I had finally decided that I'd help him do the crimes. And we had discussed where we would get the guns, how we would get them, and how I would get the transportation and everything. The week of spring break, right before spring break, we decided that it was probably going to happen. That's what you told me in your deposition earlier, wasn't it?
Okay.
Is that true?
Yeah, I guess. I said it.
Well, is it true or not?
Yeah, it's true.
So then when you told him you'd help him do the crimes, you knew what the crimes were, didn't you?
Well, I knew carrying guns on school property is a crime.
Were you actually on school property?
When?
At any time with a gun?
The day of the shooting, if that's school property. I don't know if it was or not.
What other crimes were you going to help him do?
That was it.
So when you told me in your earlier deposition you were going to help him do the crimes, the only crime you had in your mind is you'd have a gun on school property? Is that what you're telling us under your oath?
Yeah, it is. That I discussed with him what he wanted to do. He told me he had some problems at school, and he asked me, could I get transportation? I said, yes, I could.
When you got the guns, you saw Andrew put the key back on the nail, didn't you?
I don't know. I don't know if I did or not.
Just don't remember?
I don't remember, no.
Okay. When did you first learn that Andrew knew how to shoot a gun?
When did I first learn?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, he told me he shoots, so I just assumed he knew. You know, if you shoot a gun, you know how to use it.
Did you know that he had won some little shooting tournaments or events?
No, I never went to him with him.
So I understand you did not help him load the van at all with the camping gear, right?
I don't think I did. I might have, but I don't remember if I did or not, really. I don't think I did.
Did you or didn't you?
I don't know. I don't recall.
When did he first discuss with you his plan to set off the fire alarm to get people to leave the building? When was that first discussed?
Over spring break, I believe.
What did he tell you?
What did he tell me? Just that, that's how he's going to get the people to come out of the building. He's going to use the fire alarm. He's going to set the fire alarm off.
And did he tell you why he wanted the people to come out of the building?
No.
Or did you ask, well, why you want the people to come out of the building?
No.
Did he tell you that I'm going to get the people to come out of the building just so they can get work on their suntans?
No.
I mean, what was the discussion about it?
That's just what he told me. He just told me that he was going to use the fire alarm. He's going to set the fire alarm off, and the people would come out.
And then did you say, well, what's going to happen then?
No.
You sure? You mean the guy's going to tell you I'm going to set the fire alarm off for the people to come out of the building, and you're not going to say why or what are we going to do then? You don't expect us to believe that, do you, Mr. Johnson?
Let me see. Give me the question again. What's the question? What are you asking me?
When when Andrew told you that he was going to set off the fire alarm to get the people to come out of the building, there had to be some discussion about why or what was the purpose of that. Who said what?
He set the fire alarm off. People would come out. Let me see. Then we talked. I asked him why then. I was like, okay, I'll give you that. Well, you say that? Okay. Like, why? Why would you do that?
What did he say?
He said people would come out. That's when he'd prove a point, you know what I mean? He'd scare people.
That's when what?
He'd prove a point and scare people.
Did he say how he'd prove the point and he'd scare people?
Yeah, he's going to shoot over their heads.
And when he said he was going to shoot over their heads,
Mm-hmm.
how did he think that was going to prove his point?
Well, that would scare people and to stop messing with him.
And did he tell you, I expect you to shoot too?
Initially, no.
When did he first tell you he wanted you to do some of the shooting?
The day of the shooting.
What did he tell you?
He told me, I called him, I said, are you you still need the transportation? He was like, yeah, you're coming with me. I said, okay. I said, I'll be over there after a while. Skipped school and went to his house.
When was the first discussion about you doing some of the shooting?
At his house.
Who said what?
He just said, you going to help me when I get the guns, or you going to help me do the shooting?
And you said?
Yes.
And was there any further discussion about it?
Yeah.
Who said what?
I asked him, I said, if I do help you do this, no one's going to get hurt, right? He said that was his plan, not to hurt anybody. He just meant to scare some people and prove a point that, he's tired of being messed with at school.
And when you had this discussion, was there a discussion about why you needed as much ammo as we saw in these pictures? If you're going to just shoot a few shots to scare some people, why did you need hundreds of rounds of ammunition?
That's what we was going to use to survive. We was going to hunt with that in the woods.
Oh, y'all were going to go live in the woods?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
When was the decision made to go live in the woods?
I don't know. I think the day the shooting happened.
The day of the shooting?
That's when he informed me that's what he wanted to do.
Tell me about that. When and where that conversation took place and who said what?
Over the phone, I believe, when I was at my mom's still.
What
That's
did
why he
say?
told me to pack my stuff.
What did he say?
What did I say or what did he say?
What did he say?
What did he say? He just said, he said he was going to leave after the shooting happened. He's got a place we're going to go. I said, okay, what do I need? He said, just pack your stuff. You probably won't be coming back home. I said, okay.
And did he say where this place was?
No, sir, he didn't. I didn't ask.
And did you, well, you just told me there was a discussion about you living in the woods, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What did he say about living in the woods?
He just said we was going to run away. He had a spot in the woods somewhere. We just said we didn't get into full discussion of where and when and all that. I was following him, really.
So was he the ringleader of this operation?
Yes, sir, he was.
And had you heard that Andrew had told some other kid, happened to be Jonathan Woodard, about the plans for the shooting in advance?
I knew he got suspended for that. I didn't know who said what. I didn't know who told on him.
All right. And Shannon Wright's son, young boy,
Yes, sir.
has grown up without his mama,
Unfortunately.
and he wanted me to ask you a question.
Okay.
So I'm going to quote from you verbatim the question the child wanted me to ask you. Okay?
Okay.
The child wanted me to ask you, why did you shoot my mama? Answer that question for that little boy, because he's going to listen to this answer and live with it. Tell him why you shot his mama.
It wasn't intentional. I didn't intend to harm anybody that day.
With a 30-06 and a telescopic sight and your bullet striking 3 people, you didn't intend to hurt anybody.
No, sir, I didn't.
Did that telescopic sight, was it just a coincidence that it went off and hit these people?
Not necessarily. I don't remember physically looking down my scope, aiming at a certain person and pulling the trigger. I didn't have animosity towards Miss Wright. Miss Wright was always good to me. Miss Wright's a very good woman. And for the record and for her son, I would definitely apologize. I am apologizing, and I am sorry, young man, that you had to grow up without your mother. And I am sorry that you didn't get a chance to know who your mother was. And from what I knew of her, she was a very good woman. One of the best teachers I ever had. I didn't know her after that, and I'm really sorry she's gone.
All right. Anything you want to say to the, so if the family members of any of these other victims see this tape, what do you want to say to the family members of the 4 children who were killed?
Again, that I'm sorry. That this is something that I have to live with the rest of my life as well. The guilt that I have. The struggles I go through every day still. Of trying to find a job because of who I am. I'm not mad at anybody. If they're mad at me, I don't blame them at all. I try and put myself in their shoes and ask myself, if somebody killed my mother or my daughter, how would I feel? And I understand why they'd be upset, and they have that right to be. You know? That if I could take it back, even if it meant me dying and going to hell, I would. And I wouldn't second guess it. I ask myself a lot, do I deserve to be free? I don't think I do, in all honesty. You know, this recent arrest that I had, I'm sorry for. The marijuana was not mine. The gun was. I got it as a Christmas gift from a friend. Again, I'm sorry that all this had to be threw back up. I'm really sorry for the losses. I'm sorry that they had to go through knowing that their little girl would never come home again. That they'll never experience marriage and they'll never experience childhood for themselves. And I was wrong.
Do the events of that day flash back in your mind?
A lot.
When you're flashing back in your mind and the shooting is actually taking place, what thoughts were going through your mind when the shooting was taking place?
All I remember is seeing Natalie getting hit. And that keeps replaying and keeps replaying and keeps replaying in my dreams, sometimes during the day. I don't remember hitting anybody else. I don't remember aiming at anybody else.
When the guns were loaded, and you helped load the guns, did you not?
Not sure if I did or not.
Well, you had in your possession loaded guns.
Yes, sir, I did.
At the time you had those loaded guns going into that ambush site, you knew that there was a substantial risk that innocent people could be hurt or killed, didn't you?
Possibly, yes.
Because when guns are fired in the general direction of somebody, even a ricochet can hurt or kill them.
Yes, sir.
And you knew that.
Yes, sir.
And still, with that knowledge, you went ahead and fired that gun repeatedly, the rifle, right?
Yes, sir.
And when the man was on the roof, saw you, you took out the pistol and you fired at him twice.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't know if that pistol would reach him or not, did you?
I knew it wouldn't.
How far away was he?
A ways.
How far away?
I don't know.
How far?
75 yards, maybe.
How far will a pistol shoot?
Accurately?
How far will a pistol shoot?
Accurately, it was a .38, I believe, that I shot at him with. A .38 accurately, maybe 50 yards.
And if it's not accurate, how far will a bullet travel to where it could harm somebody?
I'm not sure. A mile maybe.
Okay. And so you know, shooting in the direction of those people, that you were putting them at substantial risk too, did you not?
Yes,
Just
sir.
shooting in their direction?
Yes, sir.
You have been, you've had some therapy or counseling on more than one occasion, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
Who
Many,
all-
many times.
Before your arrest, who all had you had counseling with?
Before my arrest?
Yes. Dr. Michael Prince and who else?
Before my arrest. I seen a doctor one time, I believe, in Jonesboro. Don't know his name. But that was it.
In counseling, did you ever tell your counselors or therapists why you did this?
I still don't know why. Really. I don't know why I decided to help Andrew. I don't technically know why.
Okay. In the juvenile detention in both state and federal, were you ever the victim of a sexual assault when
No,
you were
sir.
incarcerated?
Thank God, no.
Did you have any sexual contact with any of the other inmates?
No, sir.
Were you involved in any altercations or fights while you were
Yes,
in
sir.
detention? How many?
How many? 2 or 3?
Were you ever the person who provoked any of those incidents?
No.
And Mr. Johnson, you had had trouble with school in terms of cussing on the bus, cussing teachers, and fighting throughout your time at Westside, had you not?
Yes, sir.
What brought about that kind of behavior?
Initially, how I seen my dad treat me, how I
Treat-
seen Scott treat me, how I seen Scott live.
Tell me what you mean by that.
He cussed me all the time. He used to hit me, fight with me.
Was he physically abusive to you?
Yes, sir, he was.
What would he do physically abusively?
Punch me in the face, slap me around, throw me against walls.
Was he an alcoholic?
No, sir. Not that I know of.
Just use drugs?
Probably, yeah.
What about abuse of animals? Did you ever abuse animals?
No.
Did he?
Scott?
Mhm.
I don't know.
You know if
Not-
Andrew did?
No, sir.
By abuse of animals, like taking a ball bat and hitting a cat just to see what would happen to it, something like
No,
that.
sir. I have pets.
Huh?
Or I had pets then.
Okay. Let's change our tape and we'll be through shortly.
Okay.
Let's just stay where we are.
The time is 2:07 PM. We are off the record. The time is 2:07 PM. We are back on the record.
Mr. Johnson, I want to show you a little diagram. And I'll mark this as, what are we up to, D?
Yes, sir.
And the next one will be E. And this is a diagram made by the police. You might look at it for a minute. It shows the ambush position and the other ambush position, and it shows a building under construction and a basketball court. You see that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Does that look like the area where the shooting took place?
That's a rough sketch.
Okay. Where were the children in this diagram and the teachers when the shooting took place? Can you point to it?
No, it's not there.
It's not there?
No, sir, not that I see.
About where were the children? If you were here, where were the children in reference to where you shot? just pointing that they were here, 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 here. About where were they? And here's the
I'm
basketball.
I'm looking for the sidewalk that connected from between the gym and the school. Where's the gym? Is it on there at all?
Basketball court.
No, the gym, the
Yeah,
gymnasium, the inside.
You just tell me. I mean, I wasn't there.
I mean, I don't know.
If you can't tell me, that's
I can't
that's
tell
fine.
you.
Okay.
Not from that diagram.
All right. Now let's look at another diagram then,
Okay.
and see if this will help you any. This is a diagram that I'll mark as Exhibit E. This is a diagram that shows where the various students and teachers were when the shooting took place. See the sidewalks?
Okay.
And the ones in red is where the people were that were killed. Do you see that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And the ones in blue are where the ones that were not killed but were injured. Do you see that?
Okay.
And here's where the fire alarm was. Do you see that?
Where?
Right here?
Okay.
Now, where were you and Andrew in relation to this drawing?
We was on this side of the page.
So you'd have been over in this direction.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, when the shooting took place, Andrew would have been to your right. Is that correct?
I don't recall.
You don't remember?
I don't remember which side he was on.
You don't remember if he was on your right or your left?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. And so you were shooting from the left of this page to the right of this page. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And there were some 70 or so teachers and students in that area, right?
I don't know.
Okay. There was a large crowd.
They found out it wasn't a large crowd that I remember. It wasn't like a huge group of people, no.
Okay. Do you have any reason to dispute that the police diagram with all those numbers on it is represented by the names of the people as part of the police diagram as to where who was standing,
No,
where
sir.
they were standing?
I don't recall. There was only, after the firearm was pulled and the first two shots were fired, there were not that many people out there. After the fact, because there was several shots fired after I shot my first round and don't recall shooting after that. There was 4 more rounds shot from my gun, and I don't know how many Andrew shot
4 more from your rifle
from my rifle.
and
Excuse
2
me.
more from your pistol.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you don't remember shooting any of those
I remember shooting the pistol after the fact.
after the fact. And you don't remember shooting the rifle the other 4 rounds?
No, sir, I do not.
So you don't remember whether you were taking dead aim with that rifle or not, if you don't even remember pulling the trigger?
From where I stand right now, I was not intending to hurt anybody.
No, that wasn't my question.
Okay, what's
If
your
you don't
question?
remember even shooting the gun, you can't remember whether you were aiming it or not, correct?
Correct.
So then if the people were shot, it's a reasonable conclusion they were aimed at and shot as a result of where you were aiming the gun. Reasonable?
Rephrase it, please.
Yes.
Rephrase the question.
Since you don't remember even pulling the trigger, you
Okay.
can't remember where you were aiming. Is that right?
True. This is
So
true.
then, if the gun was shot and the bullet struck people, that meant the gun was aimed at those people or the bullets wouldn't have hit them, right?
Technically, yes.
Okay. And nobody had control of that gun but you, right?
I don't know that.
What, did Andrew ever take your gun away from you?
I don't know that. I can't say.
And after the shooting was over, did you still have the gun in your possession?
It was on the ground.
Right beside you?
It was in front of me a couple feet.
Okay. Did you throw it down to pick up your pistol to shoot at the men on the roof?
I don't know.
Where was Andrew when you had your pistol shooting at the people on the roof?
Behind me, I believe.
Already trying to leave?
Yes, sir. That's after he come and got me again. Because he had left. Apparently he had got up and left and came back. That's what he told me. He came back. He's like, I had to come get you because I was sitting there.
Did he tell you that you shot after he had stopped shooting? You kept shooting?
After he stopped shooting?
Yes. And he then left and he had to come back and get you? Had you still been shooting?
I don't know.
Who fired the last shot?
I don't know.
All right. When did Andrew tell you that he left and had to come back and get you? When did he tell you that?
I don't even know if he told me that. I might be assuming that. But I know I was sitting there, no shots. I didn't hear any shots. I remember sitting there and him grabbing me. And I turned around and looked at him. He said, "Come on, let's go." And that's when I remember from that point on what had happened.
All right. When the police stopped you and detained you, who said or did what?
We was on a road and the police pulled up. And the officer jumped out of the vehicle, told us to stop. So I stopped. He
Did they have their weapons drawn?
Yes, sir, they did. He did. There was only one officer at the time, I believe.
And you had your weapons with you, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
And the officer told you to do what?
Drop the weapons.
Did you?
At first, no.
Why not?
I didn't know what to do, really. I just looked at him.
Then what happened?
He repeated it, and another police officer showed up, drew his weapon, and that's when I put my gun down.
Did you ever make any movement toward the officers like you might shoot them or at them?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did you think the officers were about to shoot you?
I didn't know.
Did they ask you what happened?
Not really that I recall.
Did you know Paige Herring, who was killed? Did you know her?
I know of her. I don't know her personally. I didn't know her personally.
You did not know her personally.
I don't believe so.
Did you know Stephanie Johnson?
I mean, we all went to school together. I never hung out with any of them besides Natalie.
Did you ever have any social interaction with Paige Herring, Stephanie Johnson, or Brittany Varner?
In passing.
Okay. Had you ever asked any of them to go out on a date?
No, sir.
Had you ever said something to them and they were rude to you or dismissed you or rejected you in any way?
No, sir.
Did you have any animosity toward any one of them?
No, sir, I didn't.
All right, let's talk about Natalie Brooks.
Okay.
What, if any, was your contact with Natalie Brooks?
Me and Natalie were friends.
You and Natalie were friends. What was the nature of that friendship?
We hung out at school. I've been to a couple basketball games she was at. We hung out up there.
Kind of sat together, that sort of thing?
Yeah, talked.
Okay. Were you in the same classrooms?
No, sir, she's a year younger than me.
Were you in the classrooms with Paige Herring?
No, sir.
Were you ever in
I
the
don't believe so.
classroom with Stephanie Johnson?
We was in the same grade. I don't know if we had class together or not, but we was in the same grade, I think.
What about Brittany Varner?
I believe she was a year younger than me too.
And had you ever had any, other than Miss Wright, according to the record, sending you to in-school detention twice, had you had any conflicts with Miss Wright?
Me and Miss Wright, I always got along with Miss Wright.
One of the police officers indicates that he was standing holding onto your handcuffs when an officer talking to himself as much as anything else, said why, according to the police report of Officer Investigator Rick Dickinson. It says why, and Johnson heard this other officer and said anger, I guess. And then he nodded toward the other suspect, Golden, and said, quote, he asked me if I'd help him do it, and I said yes. Did that happen?
I don't recall if it did or not. I don't recall saying that. I may have.
And Andrew Golden was 11 years old when this incident happened, right? You were 13?
I was 13. I don't know how old Andrew was.
A lot of people have been asking questions for years relating to the shooting at Westside, Columbine School, and other school shooting incidents, that some of which successful and some of which were broken up, right?
I guess.
Well, you read the paper and see the TV.
I wasn't allowed to watch the news or associate with the press.
Since
at
you've
all.
been out, you've heard about the Columbine shooting, haven't you?
Since I've been out, yes,
And other school shootings or episodes, right?
I guess.
One of our purposes here is to try to find out what would make two 11 and 13-year-old kids commit mass murder. That's one of the things that the parents are very interested in, so hopefully we can have some input into trying to keep this from happening anywhere else.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree that's a good
I
thing?
believe that's a very good thing, yes.
Can you give us any insight that maybe we could share with other people, is to say, here's things to be on the lookout for. Here's things to be aware of. Here's things to do that might help prevent this sort of thing in the future. Can you give us any insight at all?
I mean, all I know is what I was going through. And I mean, what I was going through, I'm sure similar people go through it. People just handle it differently. You know, what to look for. I mean, there wasn't really very many signs that I gave off, I don't believe. My parents didn't know I was going through all this. My parents, you know, I didn't do stuff around my parents because I knew they didn't tolerate that. You know, anything I've ever done was always behind my parents' back. Okay? I mean, if a person is normally active, if a person is normally doing well in school and not having problems, and he just all of a sudden clamps up, don't want to talk, getting in trouble, yeah, obviously that's a warning sign. You know? Deviant behavior, running with the wrong crowd, being a gang member. I mean, I was for a long time. I guess technically, you know, that's a bad thing. It is. People who are physically violent and don't get counseling for it and don't talk about it, don't talk about the problems, period, stuff boils over. You know, and I think that was the main reason why. If there's any reason, that was the main reason why I decided to help Andrew do what he done, do what we done. I feel like I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone to open up to. I didn't know who I could trust. No.
And you had a history of being physically violent.
Right.
You fought a lot.
Yes, sir. I did.
You were a member of a gang.
Yes, sir.
You used drugs.
Yes, sir.
And you also, in your diary, said you had a hangover that day.
No, that's not true. I didn't have one. If I did, I didn't drink alcohol at the time.
Okay, well, it's in your diary. You remember
I was
that.
probably talking, you know, just talking crazy.
You had changed in your personality from someone who was a good student and not a disciplinary problem to one that was in trouble all the time, right? Or in trouble a lot.
I mean, the fights I got into, the stuff I normally done, technically, I don't see myself as provoking that. Okay?
But you wound up in a lot of fights.
Yes, sir, I did.
And you had a lot of disciplinary problems at school.
Right. Okay.
And your parents knew about the disciplinary problems at school, didn't they? Surely the school let your parents know.
Yes, when I got suspended and things, yes, they sent home notes
Okay.
and contacted my parents.
And do you remember Jenna Renee Brooks? She was a 7th grade student when the shooting took place.
I believe so.
Well, she said that that both Golden and Johnson rode her same bus, and that Mitchell, quote, thinks he's a real big shot and says that he's always saying that he does drugs, he's going to whip somebody or bring a gun to school and shoot somebody. Did you tell her that?
I didn't associate with Jenna. She was one of those stuck-up people I was talking about earlier that didn't, she didn't associate with me.
Well, when she says, and she told the police that you said you were going to bring a gun to school and shoot somebody, that she'd overheard you saying that.
I've never told that to anybody.
Okay. And then she said that you brought a chain to school at one time and kept wrapping it around your hand and making gang signs. Did that happen?
What kind of chain?
I'm just telling you what she said.
No.
Didn't happen?
No, sir. Got a few more things to go over and we're about finished. Okay.
On Monday, March the 23rd, did you tell anybody, quote, I've got a lot of killing to do?
No, sir.
You sure about that?
Yes, sir. I didn't talk to anybody that day besides Jennifer. Jennifer's the only person that I talked to that day, throughout the whole day.
And you had previously talked about suicide yourself, had you not?
Suicide?
Mhm.
I never really wanted to kill myself, no.
But you talked about that you might, didn't you?
Not that I recall.
You never told anybody you were thinking about committing suicide?
I never really wanted to kill myself.
That's not what I asked.
I don't think I have.
A lot
no.
of people say that and they don't really want to do it.
Right.
But had you ever said to anybody, I might commit suicide or I might kill myself?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. And I'm confused about something, so I just want to
Okay.
say this to you. You've told me time and again you were a member of a gang for a long time. When I took your deposition the first time, you said you were not a member of the gang.
Okay.
Which is it?
That I am. Then I was facing criminal charges, too. I'm not anymore.
Okay. Were the gang that you in affiliated with the Bloods?
It's who they are.
Okay. Did the police ever come to your home and find a .357 pistol on the table at your home and tell your mother Gretchen that that gun should be secured? You remember that?
No,
Don't
sir.
remember it? Okay. Did you ever?
When did this happen, or supposedly happen?
Before the shooting took place.
No, sir.
Okay. Did you ever brag about using drugs other than marijuana?
I've only smoked marijuana.
No.
I've never done any other drugs.
I'm not asking if you'd ever done them. I asked, did you brag about doing them? Because again, sometimes people say
No,
they
sir.
do things when they didn't.
Not that I know of.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, there's a lot of ground that we've covered, and
Okay.
I've asked you questions, and when you didn't understand them, I think you've asked me to clarify them, right?
For the most part, yes.
Are there any questions that I've asked you that you want to go back now and change or modify in any way? Any answers you've given you want to go back and change or modify?
I don't think so.
You realize the answers you give here are under oath and subject to penalty of perjury, which could include penitentiary if either a judge or a jury thought you'd committed perjury. Do you realize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And you know that when Andrew gets out, we'll be taking his deposition.
That's not my business.
Okay. Do you know when Andrew gets out?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. Do you know where Andrew is?
No, sir, I don't.
When Andrew gets out, if he has contact with you, will you let this court reporter know when she leaves you a card so we can supplement the deposition to say that he contacted you?
Why is that important?
Well, it's important if you guys are still having contact.
Why is that important, though?
Why is it important?
Right.
Because if the two of you got together and did something like this once, it's possible it could happen again.
Not on my behalf. It'll never happen again.
Then you would have no reluctance in letting us know that the two of you got in contact, then, right?
That's fine.
Okay. As far as that goes, you can call my office instead of the court reporter and just leave word that Andrew Golden got in touch with you. Can you do that?
Sure.
Okay. If your address changes, will you let us know?
Well, I don't plan on staying in Fayetteville. I mean, that's just temporary with Michael. I'm trying to find a job, trying to get on my feet.
That's what I understand.
You know, so
when your address changes, I have to send you papers and
Right.
so on and notify you of things.
Okay.
I can't do that if I don't know where and how to reach you.
This is true.
So will you keep my office informed as to your whereabouts?
I will try. I'm not going to make promises, but I'll try.
Well, I'll give you one of my cards, which I'm doing now.
Right.
It has an 800 telephone number on it. It won't cost you anything.
That's fine.
And you can contact my office. You don't even have to talk to me. Just leave word with the secretary what your current address, phone number, and employment is. Will you do that?
Yes, sir.
You think that it's the least you could do for these parents and the Wright family to let them know of your whereabouts?
I don't think that's important,
You don't?
and I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
I've had several threats of my life.
By whom?
Mitchell Wright, for one, has threatened me
When did he threaten you?
several times.
Where?
We haven't had contact, but he's threatened my mother and threaten me, to harm me. You know, and again, I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm really sorry this had to happen. I done what the judge gave me to do. I done my sentence. Was it a fair sentence? In my opinion, no, it wasn't, and I'll agree to that. But I am free. My whereabouts is nobody's business but my own. What I do is my own business.
Except when you're a party to civil litigation, you're required to keep the other side advised as to your whereabouts. That's one of the requirements. And so we have to know where, and I can assure you, Mitch Wright doesn't want to have any contact with you.
Just likewise, sir.
Okay? So keep my office informed of your whereabouts. Now, I'm going to ask you one other thing. If you think back on this
Okay.
and you think of something else, you're obligated to let me know that you remembered something else, like who shot or who did or who said what during the actual shooting,
Right.
and let me know, and we can supplement this deposition,
Okay.
because this is your sworn testimony.
Yes, sir.
And after Andrew Golden's testimony is taken, the two will be compared,
Okay.
and either a judge or a jury or somebody might try to decide one of you's not telling the truth. And a judge or a jury or a prosecutor may decide one or the other of you or both have committed perjury. I'm not suggesting that will happen.
Right.
I'm just telling you that's what we're going to do, is get his deposition and compare the two stories.
Okay.
Okay? So that's why it's important that if you realize something you said is not true, you need to let us know so we can get the true version.
Okay.
Is that understandable?
Yes, sir. I understand that.
And again, you have no reluctance whatsoever in consenting to a judgment against you that would keep you from profiting from this in any way.
I don't ever plan to profit from this, ever.
So you
whatsoever.
certainly don't have any objection.
I have no objection. No, sir, I do not.
All right. I've tried to be courteous to you. Have I been?
Yes, sir, you have been. For
And
the
you
most
have
part.
to me.
Thank
All
you.
right. Is there anything else you want to say on this record while we're on the record, either to me or to the family members, that you haven't said that you want to get on the record? Anything at all?
On the record that I'm trying to live my life the best that I can with what I have. Right now, it's not a lot. And Again, I'm very sorry that this has happened. I live with this every day of my life. It's never going to go away. That's my actual punishment, knowing that I took an innocent life, knowing that I've caused suffering and pain for somebody else, and that I truly, from the bottom of my heart, am sorry. That I pray that if they believe in God, they believe in the same God that I do, that they understand that, you know, from my heart, I'm sorry. I've asked for my forgiveness, both of them and of God. According to my Bible, the Holy Bible, you know, the Lord's forgiven me. And again, I don't hold any grudges towards anybody. You know, never, ever will I intend to hurt anybody again, ever. I didn't intend this time. It happened, and I'm really sorry it happened. And just, you know, I'm trying, again, the best of my ability to get established in life. Society is cruel, you know, especially towards a murderer. You know, and it's just something that I live with every day.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, that'll conclude the deposition. And thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
The time is 2:35 p.m.